I guess, yeah, that's one of the key questions here for plaintiffs like you guys. What are you seeking in terms of damages? How do you see this extending beyond that 30-day period if the governor sort of gives up on trying to enforce this? Is there a plan that you have to continue this fight on after that point?
So the relief we sought was, obviously temporary restraining order, and then preliminary and permanent injunctive release, as well as a declaration that it was in fact a violation of these people's rights. So we had nominal damages in our complaint, which would allow it to, if the order expired and the governor took no further action as far as trying to revive it and keep it going, it would allow the case to continue based on that past constitutional injury, and you could, in theory, get that permanent injunctive relief, and that would, theoretically stop the governor from pursuing this kind of stuff again in the future, going down this roadway. What the governor will do, she's been out there defending it, but at the same time, gun control advocates have been pretty keen on distancing themselves from her on this one. The usual suspects, if you will, that are pretty vocal about supporting any kind of governmental action that infringes or restricts people's rights have kind of said, like, well, hold on a second, this one's a bridge too far for even us. So if that's the hill she wants to die on, I guess that's up to her. But I don't think she's going to find a lot of support from anybody externally saying, like, yeah, you should really keep going on this one.
Yeah, speaking of that sort of pushback she's received, that actually includes her own attorney general, right, who's also a Democrat, who's refused to defend this law. And I'm wondering how that works out in the legal case and whether you've ever seen something like that before with one of these orders restricting guns.
So I can't say I've necessarily seen it in this context, at least not that comes to mind. There have been instances in the past of attorney generals refusing to enforce or defend laws that they don't personally agree with or they think that there are constitutional issues with. I didn't see his letter, but I did see a couple of news articles on it. And, he said, you're welcome to hire your own counsel to defend you on this. It's not something the state would be doing. That he couldn't square it, with the Constitution, and that his oath of office that he took. Not only did he take an oath of office swearing to defend the New Mexico Constitution, but also the federal Constitution, and he just didn't think he could ethically step in to defend this order based on his oath of office. And I also saw in that article that apparently the governor wasn't asking him to do that. So, I don't know, but he made it clear that he thought there were issues with it from a constitutional standpoint. And I guess if he was asked, would not be interested in defending her order.
How does that play into your strategy in this case? Are you able to take that sort of letter from the state's, highest attorney or some of these local law enforcement officials who've said basically the same thing about the constitutionality of this rule and incorporate that into your arguments in the case, or that's sort of ancillary?
I mean, it's probably ancillary. Could you do it? Sure. Would it help support your position? Yeah, I guess to some extent. I don't think it's where you want to stake your flag. Certainly, there's much better arguments that would come before it. So if you wanted to throw it in as a tertiary thing, that look, even these people, the highest law enforcement officer of the state is saying constitutionally this is problematic for persuasive purposes, you could do it. It would be certainly if there had been a written opinion issued by him, and not just a letter to the governor, but a written opinion from the AG as to the constitutionality of an action, that would be more useful in that context. But here, I don't even think it's necessary because this is just so overbroad. I think the deck is already stacked enough that you could toss it in, but it's not gonna be the thing that tips the scales.